It is no surprise that the mountains are calling to every Denverite and people looking to move to Denver. Whether it's summer or winter, there's always something to do in the great outdoors. But let me play a scenario for you. Let's say you want to be closer to the mountains, but you don't want to pay top dollar. Or maybe you're looking for a suburb in the greater Denver area with some nightlife, but you don't want to be in the city. If this fits what you're looking for, you gotta check out Littleton, Colorado. So in this video, I'll be going over the pros and cons of Littleton, Colorado, and why this should be on your list of cities or towns that you're looking to move into. Let's first set the scene of Littleton. It's actually on the southwest part of the greater Denver area, right next to the 285 and 470 freeways, right on the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. There are some really cool areas around Littleton like Chatfield State Park, Roxborough State Park, Marston Lake, and so many things in between like the Denver Botanical Gardens. Also to the east of Chatfield Reservoir is UC Health and the Children's Hospital, so you're never too far away from a hospital in case an emergency happens. You also have Morrison to the northwest, Lakewood to the north, and Highlands Ranch and Greenwood Village over to the east. And like I mentioned earlier, Littleton is pretty attractive when you want to have some nightlife, but you don't want to be fully in the city, and it's very attractive to those professionals and people starting out with new families. So now that we've established Littleton a little bit, let's go into the pros and cons list. So pro number one about Littleton is that it's ranked number 5 in the best school districts in Colorado. And according to niche.com, teachers, college prep, and academics are all graded A in their rubric. The Littleton School District prides itself in saying big enough to serve you but small enough to know you, and I completely agree with this school district. Littleton Public Schools has received the highest accreditation score in any school district for 8 years in a row, so I would say that this is a solid place for your youngster to go to school. And on to pro number 2 about Littleton, you're never too far away from Red Rocks or the mountains in general. Littleton is not all about studying books or just good grades. Sometimes you just need to have some fun and get outside a little bit more, and Littleton is the best place to do that. As you know, kids don't need to be in a book all the time. They need to be outdoors, letting all that energy out. And there's so many trails around Littleton and a lot of lakes as well, reservoirs, enough to get your energy pumping and get outside and enjoy the great outdoors. And the parents of those kids going to these excellent schools need to unwind as well and go hang out with their friends. And I'd say Red Rocks is a really good place, mainly because it was the most attended venue in 2021 and 1.54 million tickets were sold to go to Red Rocks events. And Red Rocks is an amazing place whether you want to do trails and yoga during the daytime, or if you want to see a show or even movies on the Red Rocks, they're all happening right there. And over to the west of Red Rocks is Mount Falcon. It's actually closer a little bit to the Morrison area, but it is one of my favorite hikes. All you gotta do is take the 470 going up north, and then you're there over at the Morrison Trailhead. It's far enough away where you still feel like a part of nature, but you can see the Denver cityscape out into the distance. And if you do plan on going out to Mount Falcon, make sure you dress accordingly because it can get windy and pretty chilly as well. And another word of caution as well, go check the internet to see what the conditions are like at Mount Falcon and hiking in general. Sometimes during the mud season of March, April, and May, trails are closed just to maintain the integrity of the trails. But along the trail, and the reason why I like Mount Falcon so much is because there's a little bit of history there. There's actually the Summer White House. Well, to be clear, there were plans to build a summer White House. They wanted to have all the presidents a way to get away from it all and enjoy a vacation out into the Rocky Mountains and stay there for maybe a summer and maybe even do business there too. There are even renderings and photographs at the trail that you can check out, read the history behind it. Unfortunately, it was not completed, obviously, but there were some really cool renderings where it looks like this massive castle out in the mountains. You should definitely go check it out. And on to pro number 3 about Littleton, you're never too far away from the action. Littleton may be on the southwest border of the greater Metro Denver area, but it's never too far away because you can take the 470 and go up from there, and you could drive through Golden, Arvada, and eventually get into the city of Denver, or you could just go up Sheridan and try to make your way that way through side streets. But before I guide you away from Littleton, I want to introduce you to some really cool state parks within Littleton, like Roxborough State Park. It has 4,000 acres of dramatic red rocks and mule deer there, and it's honestly quite the sight to see, whether it's summer or winter. And Chatfield State Park is beautiful as well. Like the Chatfield Reservoir, you could go water skiing, fishing, or anything you want, just boating, all in that reservoir in that state park. And lastly, within Littleton, you got 71 miles of linear park and 27 trails spreading off of it called the High Line Canal. Lastly, like I mentioned before, Littleton is well connected thanks to the 285 and the 470 freeways. You don't have to go very far to get into the city or even go out to the mountains thanks to the 285, and one of my favorite trails as well is the Waterton Canyon State Park. You're not too far away from Littleton going down that route, and you can see some bighorn sheep on that trail too, so definitely check it out. And yeah, Littleton does seem like the perfect town to live in, but I have to go into the cons of living here in Littleton, so let's get right into that. Con number 1, and this isn't too surprising, Littleton is very car dependent. For the young professionals out there that are looking for a town that might be a little bit quieter, let's say you're working remote and you just want to find something that has a little bit more amenities towards the outdoors, Littleton's great for that, but the thing is if you ever want to get out, you have to have a car. Bikeable access is just not too feasible here. Now granted, if you live close to downtown Littleton, you might find some more bikeable or walkable areas, but the general idea is that Littleton's so big and it's constantly growing that chances are you are going to need a car. And on to con number 2 about Littleton, the real estate is more on the pricey side. So the median home price in Denver is about $580,000. And keep in mind, this includes condos, townhomes, and also single family homes at the same time. And comparing that median home price of $580,000 within the city of Denver, Littleton is about $635,000, which is about $55,000 more than the median home price in Denver. So Littleton is attractive, very picturesque, and great school districts, so people are willing to pay a premium in order to live in that area. And another interesting fact about the homes within Littleton is that the median home age is about 1991. So you don't have to worry about, let's say, outdated electrical or some random things that you might be seeing with more historical homes or antique homes that you just won't run into over in the Littleton area. I mean, some of the houses in Denver were built in the 1800s, so at least you can see that there's some infrastructure that is more updated within Littleton, and they're constantly building more new builds within Littleton as well. So I would say, if you want something that's a little bit more updated and you don't want to deal with, let's say, certain capital expenditures, look for those new builds over in Littleton. And then con number 3 about Littleton, and I feel like I've mentioned this before, is that it's a quiet town. And with the majority of businesses closing around 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., that's just the nature of Littleton. And a lot of these families actually just don't mind it. That's just the way of life over there. So it might not be a problem for those young families, but for the young professionals that don't have a family yet, they're often driving outside of Littleton to get that taste of the city life, Friday and Saturday nights, and sometimes it's just not an issue, but it's just something to keep in mind. Now don't get me wrong, there's actually some really good restaurants and bars over in Littleton like Nono's Cafe, Cafe Terracotta, and also Old Town Tavern. Yeah, that restaurant's really good, but the bar is open till 2 a.m. over there, so that's probably the hub for all those people that are insomniacs in Littleton. And there you have it. Those are the 3 pros and cons that I could think of about Littleton in such a short period of time. Of course, you can hit me up. I'm a licensed realtor here in the Denver area. I would love to help you out in that. And hopefully this stirred up some additional questions or maybe answered your initial questions. But feel free to call or text me if you had any other questions or maybe even comments about the video. All my contact information is down below. I truly appreciate your time, and make sure you leave a like and hit the subscribe button to make sure you're not missing anything else within the greater Denver area. I love to keep y'all updated on what the heck is going on in the area. So that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.